Hiya folks, Antar1011 here, and I'm filling in for Aloknar with Friday's PBR battle. My opponent today is actually my fellow PokeBox 5 uploader, the Pokemon Master 14, and we had a series of 3 battles using various teams that we had lying around. Unfortunately, the Pokemon Master 14 doesn't exactly believe in tiers, so it was hard for me because I have 2 OU teams and 1 UU team, and I didn't know which one to use against which team. So my first battle, I very, very much outclassed him. Because I was using all OUs and he was using mostly UUs and NUs. And in this battle, he's using at least 3 OUs, I think just 3, while my team is all UUs. Anyway, we both lead off with our Uxies, and I go ahead and set up Stealth Rock while he goes ahead for the Safeguard. Now, on this next turn, he sets up Stealth Rock, while I go ahead and U-turn out because Uxie versus Uxie is just going to be a really boring fight and no one's really going to win. So yeah, I go ahead and U-turn, does pretty much nothing because Uxie is pretty darn defensive and it's not like I've invested anything in my Uxie's attack. So I call him back and I consider who to send out, and I figure that my Rotom, nicknamed Tachikoma for the Think Tanks in Ghost of the Shell, the anime series, I figure that it's got a good chance of doing a lot to this guy because I doubt he runs any attacks that could do a whole lot of damage to my Rotom. So I go ahead and set up a sub because the only thing I have to fear is status, and if I go ahead and set the sub, then I don't have to worry about that, and I really don't think he can break it. Unfortunately, he goes ahead and sets up a light screen, which is going to be a pain for me because, after all, I'm a Rotom, I'm a special attacker. So he goes ahead and pulls out, which makes sense. He can't really do anything to me, and switches in his Suicune. Not sure why he did this. I guess maybe he was predicting the Shadow Ball, and, you know, Suicune is pretty darn bulky defensively. So I go ahead and go for Charge Beam, and it's super effective, doesn't do anything what with, you know, Suicune's amazing stats, and the fact that there's a light screen up. So we restores a bit of health, and I do get the Spec Attack boost. Unfortunately, my next Charge Beam misses, which is really, really sucky. Meanwhile, Suicune goes for Aqua Ring, which is an interesting move. Yeah, sorry about this. My Wiimote died. Luckily, I have a bunch of spares that all had batteries in them, so I went ahead and switched to a new one. So, yeah, Charge Beam is going to gradually do more and more damage as I keep getting the Spec Attack rises. I'm worrying that he's going to Calm Mind, but I figure he can't really afford to. He goes ahead and sets up a sub, which really surprised me. I mean, after all, I'm pretty sure I'm doing more than 25% at this point, so I'm going to be able to break his sub no problem. So it seems just like it was kind of a wasted turn, plus it took him down 25%. Although he's got Leftovers and Aqua Ring, which is going to restore, what, half of the damage half of the HP that he lost to make the substitute? Which is really interesting. I mean, that thing could probably go all day against you know, a team that was unprepared for it, especially if he got some Calm Minds up. Anyway, the Surf is obviously going to break my sub. No surprise there. But I go ahead and go for a Shadow Ball here, thinking after my attack boost, I thought I was going to be able to KO, and I wanted the 100% accuracy. Unfortunately, it does not. Charge Beam does more damage, even though it's got lower base power, and they're both stab. But luckily, his Surf doesn't KO me. I'm really lucky there. And I'm going to go ahead and go for another Charge Beam, hoping that this one will take it out. But no, he survives with, like, I think he said 7 HP after the match. So anyway, he goes ahead and surfs me again, and I'm just hoping that I can survive. And indeed, as you're about to see, I do, with more HP than he has. So that's kind of great. I'm figuring he's not going to switch out because, you know, there's rocks up. He wouldn't have been able to switch back in. So I do manage to take him out with a Shadow Ball, and I've taken down his Suicune, which would have been a big, big threat to me. And now his light screen wears off, just in time for it not really to be useful. He switches in Hitmonchan, and at my low HP, I'm figuring he's going to do a Bullet Punch, and that's going to KO me. So I go ahead and call back my Tachikoma, and send in my Uxie, who's not going to care about an attack like Bullet Punch. And as you're about to see, so yeah, here comes the Bullet Punch. It does practically nothing. There's even a decent chance that Rotom would have been able to survive, thanks to the fact that it resists it, but I didn't want to take that risk. So he calls back his Hitmonchan, because he must be banded, I figure, because, I mean, otherwise maybe he have an attack that could actually do something against me. I don't predict the switch because I didn't really realize it was banded at this point, and I do Psychic, which deals a critical hit, which, you know, it's lame, but crits happen. Azelf attacks me with a Shadow Ball, which is a lot more than I was expecting. I mean, Yuxi is kind of amazing, and I'm pretty sure I've got this. The set that I'm running is 252 defense, 252 special defense for maximum bulk. Anyway, I go ahead and U-turn him, which is a super effective hit, and takes him down to very low HP. And luckily, you know, he's moved first, so whoever I switch in is basically a free switch. So that's kind of nice. So anyway, I go ahead and send in Blake, my Arcanine, who has priority extreme speed, which will easily be able to KO this sucker. And, you know, he's not going to switch because, again, there's rocks up. So I'm in a pretty good position right now. I've taken down his Yuxi, so I've taken down, what, 2 of his OU guys, and all my guys are still alive, I think. But so anyway, next for him, he switches in his Medicham, and I'm not sure what Medicham's going to do. I should be able to outspeed him, so I decide I'm going to stay in. But, you know, as you can see, he obviously was scarfed, because otherwise he would not have been able to outspeed my Blake, my Arcanine, and so I'm taken out. So that's not happy, but it is what it is. So out for me to send my Tachikoma again, because I know he's scarfed, and so he's going to have to switch out. I survive with just enough HP from the Stealth Rock to survive, to actually not die, so that's nice. And so out for him goes Roserade, and, you know, I knew he was going to switch unless he was going to fodder him, but so I went ahead and went for the Shadow Ball, which, you know, not super effective or anything against Roserade, but it does a hell of a lot. And I look up Rotom's speed, and I see that it outspeeds him by 1 point, assuming he's not Scarfed himself, but I really was doubting that the Pokemon Master 14 would be running 2 Scarfed Pokemon, because he is kind of a stickler for Item Claws, which I don't obey. It's really a pain to obey Item Claws, even though your teams tend to be more balanced. Yeah, I think I have 3 Pokemon on this team with leftovers, which, you know, is kind of lame. That's fine if you're, you know, a stickler for Item Claws, but I just didn't see any way around it with this team. Anyway, I call back my Uchikoma and go ahead and send out Hatterack, my Steelix, which I figure should be able to take anything that this Medicham is going to dish out that would have hit Rotom. So, as you can see, does nothing at all, that Zen Headbutt, so I know he's going to switch out, and I'm trying to predict who he's going to switch out to, and I decide that, you know, no matter what, I'm safe with the Stone Edge. And indeed, it's a good thing I didn't go for the Earthquake, because he sent out his Yuxi, who would have not, you know, the Earthquake wouldn't have hit him. So I go ahead and Stone Edge, does nothing at all. My only hope of getting any damage off against this guy is if I get a crit, which, you know, Stone Edge does have the increased crit ratio. Anyway, he goes ahead and sets up a Reflect, so at this point I know that, I don't think he can do anything to me, but I don't think he can do anything to me, but I can't do anything to him either. So after this Stone Edge, I am going to go ahead and switch out. So yeah, Hatterack is called back, and I try to decide who to switch out, and I go ahead and send out Maryland, my Blastoise, for several reasons. Yeah, so he goes ahead and sets up a Safeguard, but I've got several options of what to do with Blake, and so I go ahead, yeah, I'm basically at full HP, so I decide I'm going to go ahead and see how much a Water Spout's going to do, because I'm not predicting that he's going to attack me. Unfortunately, he's faster and sets the Light Screen, which is not good, considering Water Spout is a special move. So, doesn't do that much to him. Really, it's not even gonna 3-hit KO, it looks like. But he is gonna call UC back. Not exactly sure why, I guess just it didn't have anything else to do. It's running all 4 support moves, and all of his 4 support moves are in play now. Stealth Rock, Stealth Rock, Safeguard, and both sets of screens. Anyway, I blow away his Stealth Rocks with a Rapid Spin, and I go ahead and pull back Maryland and send out Hatterack, predicting that he's going to Thunder Punch. And indeed, I get that exactly right, and so it was a free switch in for me. He's going to go ahead and pull his Hitmonchan back, which I wasn't predicting, although I guess I should have. I guess, so he must almost certainly be banded. But anyway, yeah, so I went ahead and used Earthquake, which doesn't hit his Yuxi, so big mistake. But at least his Safeguard is down. I'm predicting that he's going to go ahead and set up Stealth Rock again here. So I'm going to go ahead and switch into my Kyoko, my Glaceon, so that it can get in before the rocks, and before the 25% damage that the rocks would cause. So yeah, and that worked out well for me, and I'm hoping with Uxi's low HP and the Glaceon's massive spec attack that I should be able to KO it with Ice Beam, and that is indeed what happens. So down goes Uxie, and I have taken down that really annoying Pokemon, which is really nice, really nice, and especially since now the Reflect is worn off, so my physical attackers will be better off. So I'm pretty sure he's going to use a Bullet Punch at this point, but I'm not going to switch, and it actually goes for a Mach Punch, which against my Kyoko, same difference, but I am able to survive. I was thinking that I could take one, and I was hoping that I could KO with an Ice Beam. Unfortunately, it's not quite enough. So knowing this, and knowing that he's banded, I'm going to go ahead and switch into Rotom, which it's going to take the damage from Stealth Rock, which is unfortunate, but it is not going to be hit by Mach Punch, so I'm going to force a switch. Yeah, I do survive with just a tiny bit of HP. Those leftovers are really paying off against my my Rotom, and now the Light Screen is down, which is awesome. Now, if I were him, I would have left in Hitmonchan just for Death Fodder, because he's down to his last two Pokemon, and I don't think it's that unrealistic to expect that I was going to Shadow Ball here, but it's going to OHKO his Medicham, and so now he's down to his last Pokemon, which granted he's going to have a free hit against me basically, but I would have. If it were me, I would have preferred to have Medicham out, because it would have been able to outspeed my Rotom. Anyway, I go ahead and take him out with Shadow Ball. I guess he wasn't going to go for a priority move, and I win the battle with a useless crit. So the Pokemon mastered 14, good game. People in the audience, you should definitely check out my channel. It's Antar1011. So yeah, I will see you next Monday with a new Black and White battle. Comment, rate, subscribe, and you can go ahead and challenge me on my channel. So long.